So, President Trump last week had sent over a medical ship to Greenland saying that the people there had not adequate medical care. Now, of course, Greenland rejected this and stated that they didn't need any help. But I've been doing some digging. Others may already know this, but this completely blew my mind. Did you know that hundreds of Greenlandic women and girls were forcibly given contraceptive between 1960 and 1991? They were from ages 12 years old to 36. They were the indigenous women, the Inuit victims. Read up on that. This is crazy. There were traumatic experiences from this. Now, the government of Denmark recently did this.
Jeg giver i dag ikke kun om fortiden. Den handler også om vores nutid, og den handler om vores fremtid.
An apology from the Danish Prime Minister for historic injustices committed in Greenland, its former colony. But there's another issue that's affecting Greenlandic people right now. Parenting competency tests, which contributed to hundreds of Greenlandic children being taken from their families.
The way these tests are used is a scandal.
In May, the tests were outlawed for use on Greenlanders. Now, the Danish government says they're going to review hundreds of cases.
There's 300 cases to be exact. This is horrible.
So we will use these tests when we are not making the progresses with the family, and we want to understand why.
Aberinga kitsoruna uanga testine ematan misisortisonerlunga akivanga inuia qatingin inu qataasinaanerlunga imilunniit inuttupissuseqarnerlung takuniarlung.
Kira's assessments concluded that trauma during her upbringing affects her parenting, preventing her from meeting her children's needs. She says that on multiple occasions, she was pressured by psychologists and social workers to have abortions.
When I was on the test, FQO test, psychologist asked me a question. Why do you keep this baby? And my test is that I'm not responsible enough. I didn't take my responsibility for getting abortion.
And a lot of these children are never returned to their families. The list goes on and on. There's only about 60,000 people that actually live there. But these unique colonies of indigenous people that settled from Arctic, to Greenland, they're very special. I believe it's the hidden codes and genetics in their health. From isolation that they was, their body made proteins and different scientific things. And they've been doing research on these individuals. There are modern day legends that go on in this country. This one talks about how a family lost their children immediately after birth. One day they had a little boy. Now, both parents became ill after the birth, and the child was sent out to live in horrible condition. It's an orphan. Now this goes and talk about this child had large nostrils, began to go on long hikes. One day the hikes he met a giant who was flishing his catch. This orphan and this giant become friends. Now, this is folklore. They say he ate until he couldn't eat anymore and he hid the rest in his dolmen. When during the later hike he tried to locate it again and he couldn't find it. And the giant came when he heard him crying that day. They became friends. It says that he kept enormous strength secret until day 3 where polar bears were spotted in the ice. The giant gave Cassis the strength to move the large stone, and the giant soon realized that they had equal strength. I believe they think there's something very special about their genetics. I believe they've been experimenting on these kids. They also had population control from 1960 to 91, and they're stating that it's still going on. Now, they're saying that all of these lawsuits from all of this that took place to these women and children is supposed to be finalized this year. But Trump had requested to send a medical ship over last week, and they denied it. And this is what he had posted. Working with fantastic Governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, we are going to send a great hospital boat to Greenland to take care of the many people who are sick and not being taken care of there. It's on the way, President Donald J. Trump. But all of a sudden, after they refused it, a U.S. Navy sailor was medically evacuated from a nuclear submarine in the Arctic after experiencing medical emergency. The crew member was rescued by the Danish Joint Arctic Command Helicopter 7, nautical miles off the coast of Nuuk, Greenland, and transferred to a local hospital. But they're not releasing what life-threatening illness this sailor had. Did Greenland just invade Greenland? Country Crazy out.